What's up, friends? So I was just in the store and I was buying some food, and while I was just putting my stuff on the counter in front of the cashier, the first person arrives. Hey, can I jump in front of you? I only have a little bit. I'm like, yeah, sure. And then the second one arrives and asks the same. I'm like, yeah, sure. Then I look at the people like, okay, they seem like they're already out of work, they're pension years, and don't give it too much attention. And the third one just jumps the queue without asking anything, or without asking me. And then I say something. I'm like, well, it's interesting, that you guys don't have any time. Just a little comment on the side. And one of the woman, she answers. The other two, they basically ignore it. And then the fourth one arrives and he asks the same. Yeah, I just have to buy cigarettes. Can I jump the queue? I'm like, yeah, sure. It seems like everyone here is out of time today. And it was just funny, because all four of these, I'm not judging here, but like just by the looks of how they were, presenting themselves, they weren't really happy, they weren't really, I guess, reaching their potential in their life. And it was interesting to me because like that conclusion from there was, that I kind of found for myself when I sat down in the car, is that if you don't value somebody else's time as much as yours, it probably, doesn't really help you in any way. Me personally, I try to be on time when I have an appointment. When I have a meeting, I try to be on time. If I, do anything with anyone, I value that time, right? Like I'm not trying to waste anybody's time. If I have the feeling that I'm wasting somebody's time, then I will tell them. I'll tell them that I don't feel like this is, the best use of our time, and if we can do it differently, or if I will kind of stop whatever we're doing and have a conversation around that, right? Like if needed. But I think it's crucial that we're aware of this, right? That we are aware of our time. Like it's that one asset that's never coming back, and we cannot really turn back time, of course, and we cannot really do anything but enjoy the present moment. And so I just did another podcast with Vishrant the other day, and I asked him some interesting questions. Amongst one of them was that topic around being present. And this guy, it's very difficult to probably get him super excited about something, because he's just in the moment. It doesn't really matter what happens to him. He's gonna be without expectation, and without any expectation whatsoever to the human in front of him, and to whatever goes on around that situation or around him at that point in time, which is make me think a lot. Because I asked him that question around grandchildren, and if how that relationship is with him, and if that changed anything. And for him it's all very similar, I guess, right? Maybe I'm reaching here, but just from my understanding from that conversation, he's at peace, and he's just in the present moment. It doesn't matter who he talks to, it doesn't matter who he's with, and of course he won't probably tolerate any disrespect, or he won't be around any assholes, right? But like anything else that goes on, it's just the way it is, right? It just is. And to close the loop to experience from before, you know, when literally four people try to jump my queue, you know, and I let them, because like what difference does it make for me and to me, you know, like that 30 seconds or that 1 minute that they, you know, take away from me in that moment, is it going to make it really any difference? Probably not, you know. And you know, maybe they were, you know, short in time or short of time, and maybe they had to be somewhere, which I don't believe, but that was the case because they didn't look like it. But you know, I'm just saying, like, just if people are stressed, let them be stressed, you know. Don't engage in their stress, and don't let them stress you out because of their you know, experience, and that is also something that I had to learn, right? Like, probably, you know, maybe 6-7 years ago would have not let the third one, you know, jump the queue, and I would have said, like, enough is enough, and I would have started, you know, a conversation there. Like, there's no point in it, you know. Just fucking let him be. And if I have the time, because I had the time, you know, I had that 2 minutes extra, you know, my kids weren't waiting for me in the car because I was alone, so it's all good, you know. When the baby's in the car, maybe it's a different setup, you know. Who knows how I would have reacted, but in the end, you know, who cares, right? Who gives a fuck about this stuff anymore? At least I don't. And so, yeah, value other people's time, you know, be respectful around that, and you shall get it back, you know, in a respectful way, and you shall be able to, you know, focus on buying back your time with offers and skills and building a business, right? But which is a different topic. But I think if you're not capable of valuing somebody else's time, you will never be able to build anything meaningful anyways, you know. I think it's very closely interlinked with a lot of things we do. Not just the stuff I mentioned just here, you know, but I try to keep it short. So, yeah, just my thoughts for today. It's January 25. You know, I was training this morning, and some new people were, you know, at that location that I'm training at, and yeah, probably they just come here for the January, and then maybe it will wear off, you know, because they have these new expectations for this new year. Even though, you know, it's a business year, maybe it's a new business year, but it's not a new year in your life. You know, life is a continuous process, and every day shall be treated the same. And sure, there's spring, winter, and summer, and so on, right? But you know, your new year for you personally doesn't start at the 1st of January. You know, it's just a concept. Just a fucking concept to keep you trapped in this cycle, you know. Monday to Friday you work, and then you have free time, and then you watch football, and you eat fast food, and then, you know, you pay your taxes at the end of the year or every month, and all that kind of stuff, you know. Just get out of that construct and remove yourself from that construct as much as you can. And I'm not saying it's easy, but it is possible, you know. And yeah, life just gets so much better, you know. Each step you take away from this, it will you know, be like more joyful for you, and it will feel more free eventually. But you have to make some sacrifices, and I am making sacrifices, big ones, in order for this to make it work. And you know, you just have to make a choice, like whatever works for you, right? I'm not here to say that my, you know, way of life works for anyone else but me. But I'm making it work for me and my family, right? And that's all that matters. And I'm gonna just bring that camera along and document, and you know, maybe it works for somebody else if they like what I'm proposing and what I'm documenting, right? But yeah, as I said, you know, there's not one way that works for everyone, and we're all individuals, and we're all individualistic beings and humans, and we're not the same, and nothing that worked for me should also work for you. Maybe it does, but it shouldn't. It's we're on this timeline where we have to find our own way through the jungle, and sure, there's people that can give you advice, and sure, there's people that can guide you with certain problems that you might have, and that's a good thing about mentors and coaches and teachers, and I have plenty of those, and I think that's the only way to make better mistakes and make less mistakes, is to learn from other people. But regardless, we have to work through this by ourselves, and we have to make our own moves, and we have to learn ourselves, right? And stuff that maybe a friend of mine learned in his early 20s, I only learned like in my early 30s, because I had to learn the hard way, and that's okay, right? That's totally fine. And we have to accept this. We have to accept that our lives turn out differently, and we have these different experiences at these different points in time, and that's totally fine. We could say that our story has been written already, and that's a different topic, but I think the key here is to really surrender. As soon as you start surrendering fully, and that's really not an easy thing, and I'm working hard on this. Once you do that, stuff gets different, and it starts to unfold in a different way. Life starts to unfold in a different way, and therefore I can only encourage you to try it out. I've talked about this on the podcast and stuff, I think with many of my guests, it's also with Niels Parr, we talked about it, the surrender experiment, I think, and with Alexander Keenan. And yeah, it works for many people, especially us men. I think it's great to try it out, and it's a process, right? You won't get it right in the beginning, and I'm not getting it right all the time, and I'm still working on it and getting better at it, and that's what it's all about, just improving day by day, and sticking to your values and your mission and your vision of life. And if you have that North Star of what you want to accomplish and where you want to go, how you get there is not up to you. Like I've had these plans laid out in front of me, and the more detailed it was, the less I was able to stick to it. That's the opposite of surrender in that moment. All right, talk to you soon.